Anyways, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Cheers. I love this. Just to tell everybody, I've already had half a bottle of this by myself because we were having a party with friends.
Yeah.
I am so excited for today.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to coming down here. I just got off work and changed clothes and then.
Yeah, I like your Pikachu shirt. Can you show your Pikachu shirt to everyone?
Pikachu. Yeah. It's Pikachu is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's not my favorite, but I'm a huge Pokemon fan.
I'm surprised you still are a Pokemon fan, man.
I grew up with Pokemon. Well, I mean, you did too.
I think our experience is a little bit different. So can you explain your introduction to Pokemon?
Okay, so Pokemon came out when I was in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
I was in second grade.
Mm-hmm.
Third grade?
Mm-hmm.
Third grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was how old are you in third grade?
I was 8.
8? Okay, so
8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, I must have been 8 then. Anyways, so Pokemon came out in third grade, and I saw the older kids, the 5th and 6th graders on the playground, trading these cards with animals on them. And me being a child looking at that, I'm like, dude, those animals look super cool. I want those. So I managed to talk to some of the kids, and I got my first card was a Pikachu. It was the Pikachu card, and that card was hilarious looking. It was this little fat yellow rat. It didn't look like this. This is the evolved Pikachu, right?
Yeah, right.
But the original Pikachu was this little blob of yellow, and so I hung on to that card for a long time, and eventually I learned that you could get these cards, and they were called Pokemon cards. And you could get them pretty much anywhere, right? They would be sold at grocery stores, and the packs were I don't know, $3 a pack or something. And so I convinced my mom to give me Pokemon packs for chores.
Okay.
So we would have, well, it wasn't necessarily Pokemon packs, but it was money for chores, right? And I would use that to get Pokemon packs. Anyway, so I eventually started collecting, and there was this huge community at my school during recess.
Yeah.
That was trading and collecting these cards. And then I got sucked up into the whole Pokemon craze at the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I had Pokemon Game Boy, Pokemon games, Nintendo, everything.
So what year is this specifically? 1999? 2000?
90. Well, if I was 8 years old, it'd be 98.
Okay.
I think it was, I was younger though. I think it was 7.
Okay.
So maybe 97, 98.
Okay, because so here's the thing, right? So first, I want to just tell, for everybody who's listening to this, most American and European people's interest in Japan comes from anime or manga.
100%.
Yeah. And for people from our generation,
Yeah.
most likely it's Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yeah.
So I came from Germany, and I came in 1999, the year before Pokemon hit Europe.
Yeah.
I remember going back to Germany 2 years later, and Pokemon was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But I remember, so I moved from Germany to the United States, and I was really confused because everybody, and I mean everybody my age, was playing the same Game Boy games.
Yeah.
Game Boy games. Game Boy games. And they had these trading cards, and there was all this Pokemon stuff. And I came in, and I was like, what the heck is this? And they're like, what, you don't know what Pokemon is? You're so stupid. Yeah. So to make friends, I bought Pokemon cards. And I had to, yeah. Everybody was trading them during recess, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, it was straight up an economy.
Yeah.
You would pay for stuff at school with basically Pokemon cards.
Yeah, right?
And it's crazy how it's really funny you mentioned that kind of anime is a gateway drug to getting into Japan, because at the time you could get Japanese cards. And I don't know how they circulated over to the US, but you could get Japanese cards, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand the concept of Japan.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about Japan at all. But we would get these cards, and I knew that there wasn't they weren't in English. And that stuff was gold.
Yeah.
There was some unwritten rule that if you had the Japanese version of one of the cards, you had elite status. No, I don't care about your Pikachu. I've got the Japanese Pikachu. Look, you can't read this. This is not English.
Did you know that it was Japanese though?
I knew that it wasn't English.
Okay. No, because it's funny you said that, because so for me too, like, so when I was when I came to the States, I was 7 years old and I knew about Pokemon. Then it turned into Yu-Gi-Oh for me, and then it turned into Dragon Ball Z. And I know like Dragon Ball Z was really popular back when.
I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan too.
But the interesting thing is that I didn't know any of that was Japanese.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And then I remember I really got into drawing Dragon Ball Z characters. Like that was my hobby. I had no friends. So I put all my emotional turmoil out on the page, and I was drawing Dragon Ball Z characters. And
look at Arthur, the angsty child,
seriously, draw a man with lots of muscles. Draw a man with lots of muscles, basically. And like it was funny because I remember someone saying like, oh yeah, maybe you should go to Japan. I'm like, why? Like, because Dragon Ball Z comes from Japan. Yeah. I was like, really? I thought it was American.
That's so funny. Because, like, it really didn't click with me either that Dragon Ball Z was a Japanese show. Yeah. Which, it's funny because, like, the main character, Goku, literally has kanji on his back, like, on his uniform. Yeah. And it's like, they live in Japan. Like, if you watch the show, it's like, you know, his wife's name is Chi-Chi. Like, they're everywhere they go, you see Japanese everywhere, and that just never clicked with me.
Yeah, it's true, because I didn't even think it was even Chinese or anything like that. Yeah. I just thought it was like just a whole new world.
Something else, right?
Yeah, dude, the funny thing is that, so I'm American, right? Yeah. And I only speak American. I only speak English. American English.
America.
I moved from Germany to America in 1999. Yeah. And my sister, so that means that we were living in Germany until then. And my sister, she went to elementary school in Germany. Yeah. And the most popular game for the girls to play in like 1996, German elementary school, was Sailor Moon. I'm not even kidding.
I also played that game.
Yeah. Oh, you played Sailor Moon?
I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan.
No, but here's the funniest thing. So like I and my sister watched Sailor Moon in German. Yeah. And we also saw Kiki's Delivery Service, Majo no Takyubin, in German on the German TVs. Yeah. So I thought for the longest time the Sailor Moon and Majo no Takyubin was German.
To be fair, I don't blame you for that, because the main character in Sailor Moon, Usagi, she's blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah. Like, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny. It's like, so I moved to the United States and then I started studying Japanese, and then I realized, oh, wait. Kiki is Japanese, and Sailor Moon is Japanese too. What just happened? Like, I had no idea. It's like the Japanese anime was just so ingrained in the culture that I didn't even realize it came from Japan. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because my first realization that all of this anime came from Japan was Sailor Moon also.
Oh, really?
Specifically because the end song. So the beginning in the American version of Sailor Moon, the do 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 do. So that song is completely translated into English. Okay. They have whatever band play it. I don't know who's saying it, but anyways, that song's translated in English. However, the end credits will play the Japanese version of it. Oh, really? Okay. And so that was my first experience of, this is Japanese.
Okay, I see.
Because like it would do like the end credits, and then it would say like Telebi Tokyo, or I don't know who produced Sailor Moon, but it was obviously a very Japanese company, and it said whatever Japan on it. And we used to have this thing called on Cartoon Network. I don't know if you Toonami, man.
Yeah, Toonami. Yeah.
So it was this after school. It was specifically for kids after school, because it would start at like 4:00. Yeah. And it would only play anime. And so like the first few years when it came out, it was like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, and Gundam. Yeah. But then they started to like expand into like different anime. Yeah. And I was obsessed with Toonami, man. I watched every single day. Yeah. I watched any Golden Age anime, I watched it.
Yeah, I need to kind of break this down for people who don't know what we're talking about with Toonami. So Toonami was a special segment on Cartoon Network, which was the American classic cartoon show. Like, I found out that actually Cartoon Network was originally owned by Ted Turner,
Yep.
Because he bought the rights to the Flintstones, the Jetsons,
he bought Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, all the classic cartoons, right? And so they had that, and then they wanted to have modern cartoons. So they had Toonami, which was, like you said, it was Dragon Ball, it was Sailor Moon. I remember Yu Yu Hakusho. No, Yu Yu Hakusho was like Adult Swim, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
because it was a little bit more graphic.
Yeah.
And then it had like adult themes because there was like scantily clad girls that would...
Yeah, but I just remember thinking like, oh, this is so cool. I had no idea that any of it was Japanese. I just thought this was cool.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so funny because like I'll tell you what specifically I thought Gundams.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with Gundam at the time. I was a little too young for Evangelion.
Yeah, right.
Like Evangelion was like, what was that? Like early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually watched that show and I thought it was good, but at that time, like Gundam already.
Yeah, right.
I was already in the
Gundam was like
Gundam.
has been there for a long time. Yeah.
And so I thought Gundam was so cool, and then like I always remember thinking about the character names. Like, man, these people have really weird names. Like, like the main character, I saw it was one of the Gundam has like a million series.
Yeah.
Right. But the series that I first saw was called Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
I think it was like Gundam Wing Zero or something. And the main character, his name is Amuro.
Amuro, okay.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, I was like, what?
Yeah, that's
I don't know anybody
name,
named Amuro. Wait, where's that name from?
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, the more anime you watch, you learn that, like, you know, oh, wow, okay, all these people are Japanese. That makes sense now.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that because when we talk about Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So, like, the main character, his name is Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
Like Ash Ketchum all, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Misty, which is kind of like a weird name, but it's still very much, it could be, like, English.
Misty is definitely a actual name.
Yeah, and then you had, like, what was the guy's
Brock.
name? Brock?
Yeah.
Brock. Yeah, so that could have been, like, a guy's name, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like you didn't really have that in Pokemon, but when you get to the deeper anime, like Gundam and stuff, you have these weird names. It's like, where is this coming from?
You know, it's really funny. This didn't click until actually I came to Japan.
Yeah.
But so the starting area in Pokemon is Kanto. Did you?
Now that you say that, that's
yeah. It didn't click until I came here, and like I remember the first time I was touring Japan, and like we came to Tokyo, and there's like, yeah, this is the Kanto region. I'm like,
what, Pokemon?
What?
Yeah,
we're in the Pokemon land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. No, I totally get that. It's funny how it's like how like this Japanese anime.
Yeah.
And just to say like so, in English, anime means Japanese. Nihon no animation, right?
Yeah.
So like animation or comics or cartoons is like Americano, right? It's like European animation, right? So like for anime was totally transplanted into our culture and we didn't even realize it came from Japan. We just liked it.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Well, I think these days there's a conscious effort to really put forward that this is Japanese animation.
Yeah, dude, but now when we have things like Naruto, like you can't avoid that's like Japanese because it's about ninjas.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't even know ninjas were from Japan.
Actually, yeah, that me neither for a while.
Well, because like growing up, you have like pirates and ninjas, so I just assumed everyone had ninjas.
Yeah, right. Ninjas were European or something like that. No, I get that. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it's like, so when I was, because really what changed my life really was, so I was into drawing like Dragon Ball Z characters and stuff. And then I remember in school, someone said, you know, Arthur, you should go to Japan. Yeah. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, you're drawing these characters all the time. I'm like, yeah, so what? Why should I go to Japan? I've never really thought about going to Japan. They're like, because this is anime. What's anime? Yeah. Anime is Japanese cartoons. I'm like, well, what? Like, what makes it Japanese? Yeah. Well, you have the big eyes. You have this style. I'm like, oh, wait, actually, you know, the styles that I've been interested in came from Japan.
Yeah.
Maybe I should check out Japan a bit more. And that's the reason why I'm here now.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I've stopped being interested in anime and manga years ago.
Yeah.
But that was like the entry for me when I was 13, 14. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
It's really interesting seeing how much Japan's actually influenced media because
yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, because I was just thinking like, so like the Walkman and the Discman and Sony and Panasonic.
That's what I was gonna say.
Those are all Japanese companies, right? But did you know that they were Japanese when you were younger?
No, not at all.
Yeah, you just thought they were a part of your everyday life.
Same with the Game Boy.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of Nintendo, like
I had no clue Nintendo was Japanese.
No clue.
Yeah.
No clue. And you wouldn't assume it, especially with Nintendo. Like all the characters have very English names. Like So I learned something. Do you know the character Kirby?
Kirby, yeah.
Do you know why he's named Kirby?
Mm-hmm.
So at the time that they were developing Kirby the game, he used to have a different name, but the main lawyer for Nintendo was a guy named, it was like Tom Kirby or something. He was an American guy. And he was living in Japan. And he just happened to be Nintendo's lawyer. And apparently he was really well liked by like a lot of the head staff at Nintendo. And so to honor him, they named the character after him. Yeah. So that's where Kirby gets his name.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So it's just like some random lawyer who just happened to be friends with everybody. Everyone's like, let's just name the character after Kirby.
Wow.
So,
do you know why Pac-Man is called Pac-Man? So originally, because he's the shape of a puck, he was called Puck-Man. But if you take a P and you make a gap in between like the right edge of it, it becomes an F. So they had to change it. So it's P-A-C-K. So if you change it to an F, it's it's F-A-C man instead of F-U-C-K man. Yeah. Like that's the reason why, you know?
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like it's interesting how like back in the late 90s, there was so much about Japanese made stuff that was just an everyday part of life here. Just
completely like I think basically every aspect of like daily media and daily culture, at least growing up, almost everything was Japanese.
Yeah. Well, it's like you and me, right? So we grew up with Nintendo.
Yeah.
We watched it probably on our Sony or Panasonic TVs.
Yep.
We had a Walkman.
Yep.
And then we watched like Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z or Rurouni Kenshin, all those things. Yeah.
Yep.
It was really like so much of our life was connected with Japan, you know?
Yeah.
We didn't even realize it.
You don't even realize it. So it's just like when I first came here, and a big reason why I wanted to become an English teacher here is I didn't realize like how connected I was with Japan until I moved here.
Right.
And I instantly fell in love with the place. And I feel like you pretty much had a similar experience.
Yeah.
And a big reason for me wanting to be an English teacher is I wanted to expose like American culture over here and get somebody to feel the same way.
Yeah.
So it's just it's kind of funny though, because nowadays it very much feels like that here in Japan, because now everywhere you look you see American products.
Yeah, right.
Like how many Apple products do you have in this room, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting how things have kind of flipped around.
Well, it's like even nowadays, like in the States, like I've noticed this after living here for 7 years or something.
Yeah.
Most TV sets now are like Samsung.
Yeah.
You know, and like a lot of the cars are becoming like Korean cars, or the TVs are becoming Korean sets, or Chinese. Like Huawei is becoming really big.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I still, I'm old fashioned. I don't like Samsung stuff.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Me neither.
I honestly, you know, this is probably just bias.
Yeah.
I think this is actually 100% bias, but my association with Samsung is it's like cheap.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not fair.
Well, now the most expensive Android phones are Samsung.
They're Samsungs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Galaxy phones, like my image of them, and I need to just accept that this is 100% bias. But my image of them is, I think it was like 10 years ago, the phones had like problems with their batteries.
Yeah.
Where they would explode.
Yeah, right.
And so you couldn't even bring Samsungs onto a plane.
Yeah.
They were banned from entering planes. So it's like, my image of them is like, this is a crappy phone. Like, this is the budget iPhone.
Yeah. Well, you know,
apparently they're better now, though.
Yeah, it's crazy though. So like my late grandmother,
Yeah.
right? So she died just a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and she died at the ripe old age of 95.
It's old.
And yeah, she grew up during the war, right? So she was born 1924, and so I remember though she told me that in the 50s, after she had kids and everything,
Yeah.
they did like a children's international donation to children in Japan
Oh, really?
because there was so much like destruction that happened during the war,
Yeah.
and there were so many poor people, right? So
Yeah.
she had this image that Japan was like this destroyed nation that had so much poverty and stuff. And of course, like in the next 30 years or so, it grew incredibly, right?
Yeah.
But
it
it's
became
just-
like literally the richest country in the world
Yeah.
for a time.
Yeah, but it's just funny how even in a generation things can change. And even now,
much.
like, you and I, because we grew up, we were in elementary school like 20 years ago, right?
Mm.
And so our concept of Japan back then is different from how it is now,
Yeah.
So like it's just funny how those notions carry
very
over.
much so. I mean, sure would be pretty nice living back in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, seriously, during the bubble economy.
Oh
yeah,
my
for
god,
sure,
the
man.
economy's so bad right now.
Did you know that like a Japanese dude bought the Empire State Building for his daughter as a birthday gift?
Are you kidding?
No,
What?
because like back then, like
People
the
just
land was
had,
so
like-
valuable back then.
Like Dubai levels of money.
Seriously,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like a Japanese guy just bought the Empire State Building. I'm like, man,
So for the longest time, the Seattle Mariners were owned by Nintendo.
oh really?
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
For pretty much like I think since like the mid 90s until like 2010 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, Nintendo owned the Seattle Mariners.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that why Ichiro was there for so long?
No, I think that was just coincidental.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, like Japan's like really obsessed with sending players over to play in like the MLB.
Well, yeah. I get that.
Which I mean, I guess it's okay. To be fair, baseball's a really big thing over here.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's like in America, no one really cares about
Yeah,
baseball.
not anymore.
So it's like,
So that would be a good topic to talk about next time.
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah.
about baseball.
yeah, and how like national sports have changed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, by the way, have you ever seen like the Nintendo headquarters in Kyoto?
I didn't even know it's in Kyoto.
It's in Kyoto, man. Actually, so
Really?
whenever I meet with my students for like ochakai or atsumari, we always meet at a gasto, a family desu, right in front of the Nintendo
Really?
headquarters.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. One of these days, I really want to like travel to Kyoto. I even want to travel to California with you. And,
Well,
like,
we have
to
a
see.
pretty good reason to go in March.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I'm just throwing that one out there.
Yeah, we could probably figure that out.
That's my wedding ceremony
Yeah,
day.
dude.
But
But yeah, so that's good. I think
Yeah.
Next time let's talk about a topic we want to get to, which was alcohol and tobacco use,
Yeah.
and maybe even drug use in Japan versus the United States.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
I
interesting.
would like to talk about that because I've seen some stuff in Kombinis that really made my head tilt. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Let's talk about that
So,
next time, man. That
definitely,
sounds great.
dude. All right.
Awesome.